RWBY was created by the late Monty and forgive me if I mispronounced his last name, and RWBY is a Rooster Teeth production. Volume 1 of RWBY aired from July 18th, 2013 to November 7th, 2013. There is some history about Monty before he created RWBY, and it is relevant to why he created RWBY. Some time ago, Monty created a fan video called Haloid. He also made another fan video in the past called Dead Fantasy, which has to do with Final Fantasy characters. And I'm not gonna lie, I used to be a big fan of the Final Fantasy franchise. And who can blame me? The stories behind those games are actually some of the most captivating experiences in video games. And I definitely do consider a game like Final Fantasy VI to be the franchise's masterpiece. Feel free to check out Haloid or Dead Fantasy at your own leisure. They should be easy to find on YouTube. The reason I bring this part of Monty history is because Monty wanted to do the same kind of thing, but do it on his own original series. This, of course, led to the creation of RWBY. There is one thing you will need to keep in mind before you look at RWBY's animation. This is a web series production, not a television production. Had the animation been the same and been broadcasted as a television series, the animation would likely be criticized. But since this is a web series, I'm actually going to take it very easy with the animation in RWBY. I'm not gonna lie, when I first experienced RWBY, the animation took me a little getting used to, but after a while, I was actually able to tolerate it quite easily. I am open to the possibility that the animation quality might improve from time to time, so that's actually one thing I could possibly look forward to in later volumes of RWBY. Since this is a web series, I will be very forgiving towards the animation quality in the first volume of RWBY. The music for Volume 1 is composed by Jeff Williams with additional composition by Steve Goldstein and Alex Abraham. I should mention that most of the vocals are actually provided by Jeff Williams and his daughter, Casey Lee Williams. This results in a soundtrack that is hard rock, heavy metal, and symphonic rock. I'm not gonna lie, the soundtrack is actually really cool for this series. I can guarantee you that the opening theme for Volume 1 of RWBY will get stuck in your head, and you will not want to skip this opening theme for Volume 1 of RWBY. I usually talk about the cast whenever I talk about a film or television series, but for this review, I'm not going to talk about the voice cast at all. I can say that they're all good, and it's kind of nice that RWBY contains a voice cast of people that aren't really well known. So this series allows some voice actors the opportunity to get their feet moving forward to possibly bigger roles in the future. I don't know, but it's kind of nice that the lesser known voice actors in RWBY are actually getting quite some attention thanks to this series. I am certain that the one reason why audiences keep coming back to RWBY is because of its characters. A lot of these characters are likable in Volume 1 of RWBY. Now, even though the titular team is a group of girls that can kick ass, Ruby Rose is a decent character for the most part. Weiss is kind of a bitch to begin with, but this series does a good job at allowing the viewer to open up to her at a later point. Blake is actually interesting when you give her the time, and Yang is a great character for comic relief. For the most part. The weakest aspect towards Volume 1 of RWBY just so happens to be towards the plot. Now, Volume 1 of RWBY does start off quite well, and it does establish the characters just fine. Now, the plot structure of Volume 1 of RWBY is a bit repetitive, but it actually works. Except for after the titular team is formed. The two-part episode, The Badge and the Burden, is just fine as it is. My nitpick towards the pacing of Volume 1 of RWBY goes to the two-part episodes of Jean Dice and Forever Fall. Considering how Volume 1 of RWBY was paced out the way it was earlier, I do feel like this point of Volume 1 of RWBY does slow down the plot. And you want to know something? I was actually considering giving RWBY Volume 1 a 10. But I can't, because of this little mini arc regarding Jean and this asshole Cardin. In my opinion, this little subplot could have been resolved in the two-part episode Jean Dice and not drag it for one more two-part episode, Forever Fall. Now, even though Cardin does come off as a generic cliched bully, I actually won't take it too hard on Volume 1 of RWBY for this, considering that at times, RWBY does take place in a school. Volume 1 of RWBY does get back on track after the two-part episode Forever Fall, so that's kind of a nice thing. However, that does leave RWBY Volume 1 with 2 episodes left after Forever Fall. Had Volume 1 of RWBY trimmed down the subplot of Jean getting bullied, I think RWBY Volume 1 could have had a solid conclusion instead of feeling rushed and a bit underwhelming. Nitpicks aside, RWBY Volume 1 is actually a very entertaining web series. RWBY Volume 1 was and still is available to watch on YouTube through the YouTube channel Rooster Teeth. You can actually watch all the episodes of Volume 1 of RWBY for free. RWBY Volume 1 is also available to stream on Crunchyroll as well as Netflix. If you like RWBY, you can always purchase the DVD or Blu-ray if you want to help support this series. Overall, RWBY Volume 1 is an excellent first impression that is action-packed, has some nice comedy once in a while, and is quite entertaining. It's got likable characters, a kick-ass soundtrack, the animation is nice for a web series, and the plot may hold some interest for anyone that might be looking forward to watching Volume 2 of RWBY. I am going to give the first volume of RWBY a 9. If you like this review, feel free to hit the like button. And if you want to follow my channel, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. And as always, you are welcome to leave me a comment if you feel so inclined. And thank you for watching my review of RWBY Volume 1. And I will see you in the next review.